immerse yourself into the world of Creepy Man. He's waiting for you.
Eric thought he married the perfect woman. Quiet, kind, afraid of horror movies. But after she started peeking at him from behind walls, under tables, and inside closets, he realized too late. He didn't know who or what he brought into his home. This is the story of the Peeker. One brisk Monday morning, as Eric prepared to leave for work, he paused to sip his coffee and grab his bag. That's when he saw it. Lynn peeking at him from the hallway, only her eyes and a sliver of long dark hair visible around the corner. She didn't say a word, just watched. Eric jumped, sloshing hot coffee on his shirt. Jesus, Lynn, he laughed nervously. You scared the hell out of me. She didn't respond, just giggled and disappeared behind the wall. It was weird, completely out of character, but harmless. He chalked it up to a playful moment, maybe a fluke. Everyone acted silly sometimes, but that night, Eric found himself checking the corners of rooms. 3 days passed. At 2 a.m., Eric, half asleep and parched, made his way to the kitchen for a glass of water. The moonlight filtered through the blinds. As he drank, he sensed something. That primal itch on the back of the neck. He glanced down. There she was. Lynn, peeking from behind the kitchen island, crouched low, only her face visible. Her eyes were wide, and her mouth was pulled into a rictus grin that didn't look playful anymore. It looked feral. Eric dropped the glass. It shattered. Lynn scuttled away on all fours, hands and feet slapping the floor like a spider retreating into a hole. He didn't sleep that night. The next day, he asked her about it. You're being weird lately, he said, watching her stir her tea. Am I? She replied, blinking slowly, then smiled, wide and empty. Eric couldn't explain the chill that crept up his spine. The peeking became a pattern, once behind the living room curtains, another time from beneath the dining table. One night, he awoke to find her peeking at him from inside her late grandmother's trunk at the foot of their bed. He asked her why she was doing this. She didn't answer, just slowly lowered the trunk lid. Eventually, she stopped. Relieved, Eric tried to return to normal. They went out for lunch, binge-watched TV. For a while, things were good again. You given up your spy game? He joked over dinner one night. Lynn sipped her wine and smirked. Maybe I've just gotten better at it. That night, he checked behind the shower curtain, under the bed, inside the closet. Nothing. The silence felt heavier than her presence. A week passed. During a morning shower, with hot water steaming the room, Eric closed his eyes and let the warmth hit his face. He opened them slowly and screamed. Lynn's face was inside the shower, not her whole body, just her face, peeking between the curtain and the wall. Her hair was soaked, clinging to her cheeks. Her mouth hung open. Her eyes were bloodshot and wider than humanly possible. He fell backward, slamming into the wall. She didn't flinch. She stared. Then, ever so slowly, she pulled back. A second later, the bathroom door slammed shut. Eric stayed locked inside for an hour. When he emerged, Lynn was gone. No trace of her. No wet footprints. Eric didn't go to work. Instead, he drove to his brother Chris's place across town. Told him and his wife, Rebecca, they'd had a fight. Chris didn't ask questions, just handed him a beer and nodded. That night, around 3 a.m., Eric awoke to a soft tapping. The window. He pulled back the curtain. Lynn. Her face was pressed to the glass, mouth grinning so wide her cheeks looked torn. Drool streaked down the pane. Her eyes were unblinking. Eric backed away, heart pounding. Lynn, go home. She didn't move. Just watched. Chris and Rebecca rushed downstairs after hearing him shout, but by the time they arrived, she was gone. Not a footprint in the dew-soaked grass outside. Later, Rebecca admitted something strange. That morning, while Eric was still sleeping, Lynn had stopped by, asked if he was awake. She hadn't come inside, just smiled and walked away. Eric and Chris decided to return to the house the next day. It felt like unfinished business. Maybe she was having some kind of breakdown. Maybe she was sick. The house was unnaturally quiet, like it had been waiting. They moved from room to room, each corner more suffocating than the last. In the bedroom closet, they found something. A row of tiny objects on the top shelf, marble-sized, brownish, glossy, animal eyes. Preserved. Arranged in a line. Eric whispered, "She needs help." Chris murmured, "She needs an exorcist." Then they found her, under the bed, curled on her side, trembling with visible excitement, her hands clasped under her chin like a child watching cartoons. Her wide eyes glistened, her mouth stretched in that same disturbing grin. Her hands were drenched in blood. "Lynn," Eric said softly, "are you hurt?" She nodded, twitching. Eric took a step forward. "Lynn, I want to help you." In a flash, she lunged, dragging a shard of glass across his forearm. Blood sprayed. He stumbled back with a scream. Chris shouted and stepped between them.
No!
Lynn turned her gaze on him, snarling, her lips trembling. "Run!" Eric shouted, pushing Chris toward the door. Lynn crawled out from beneath the bed with unnatural speed, limbs jerking like a marionette's. Blood dripped from her fingers. She stood in the doorway, breathing rapidly. Then she charged. Eric turned and fled. She leapt onto his back, her mouth against his ear, letting out a terrible hiccuping giggle, like a child choking on laughter. He slammed into the wall to shake her off, and she fell away, her head cracking against the banister. He bolted down the stairs, escaped into his car, and drove himself to the hospital. 11 stitches in his arm, 3 in his back. The police searched the house. She was gone. They found no signs of forced entry or exit. No blood. The eyes were gone too, like it had been staged. Eric checked into a motel an hour away. He tried to forget. That night, he got a message from an unknown number. "I found you." Attached was a photo. Her eye, just her eye, peeking through what looked like the motel's bathroom vent. Eric stopped sleeping. He moved every 2 days, motel to motel. Once he found a note under his pillow that simply read, "Peekaboo." Shaking, Eric began to dig. He hacked into her old email, found an adoption record, Willow Shade Center for Children. He drove there the next morning. It was still standing, now a rehab clinic, but one of the original staff still lived on site. Sister Agnes, 83, frail but sharp. Yes, we called her Lynn because she wouldn't say her name. Eric leaned forward. "What do you mean?" he asked. She was found in the woods, near Black Ridge. Police never found her origin. No missing child reports. Nothing. It was like she was born from the trees. Eric felt his blood chill. She never spoke, just murmured. A strange language. She'd watch people from behind doors, corners. They called her the Peeker. Sister Agnes's hands trembled. One night, 3 boys teased her, tried to scare her. The next morning, they were gone. No trace, no blood, no noise. Eric's voice broke. "And then?" he asked. "She vanished." No one saw her again. Eric's heart raced. His mind splintered. He called Chris and begged him to meet. Chris agreed to drive to a cabin their family owned deep in the woods. Eric arrived first. Waited. But Lynn got there before Chris did. He heard the door creak open and spun around. He approached cautiously, hand shaking. He opened it. Nothing. Then he looked down. She was there, folded into the bottom shelf like a broken doll, eyes wide, that smile. Before he could scream, she lunged again. This time he fought back, slammed the door on her arm. Heard bones snap. She howled. A sound not human, not animal, something else. He ran outside. The trees swallowed the light, and standing in the driveway was Chris. "Chris, she's here! Inside!" Eric screamed. Chris barely had time to react before Lynn came barreling from the front door with something sharp in her hand. Eric tried to stop her, but she moved like smoke. A flash. A scream. Blood. Chris dropped to the ground, throat slit. Lynn stood over him, breathing heavy. Her face began to change, eyes sinking, skin paling, mouth stretching impossibly wide. The figure that had once been Lynn melted away, revealing something much older. Something dead. Eric collapsed to his knees. She crouched beside him, whispered in his ear.
You never knew me. Not really.
2 weeks later, police found the cabin after a hiker reported a rancid smell. They discovered Chris's body inside. Eric's was found in the basement crawl space, his eyes missing, smile carved into his face. Lynn was never found. If that story gave you chills, don't forget to like the video. It tells the algorithm you survived. Subscribe for more terrifying tales, because you never know when the next peak might come. And share this with a friend, especially the one who always feels like they're being watched. Until next time, sleep with the lights on.